Hi guys, welcome to Real English Online. Today we're going to be doing another vocabulary series. Again, some really good words, and it's all to do with buildings and houses and places where we live. Okay, so it's quite a big series. I think there's 4 parts to this series. Let's have a look at the words we're doing today though. An apartment, a high-rise building, a block of flats, a skyscraper, and a cottage. Okay, and you can see here a beautiful picture of a waterfront somewhere. I'm not sure where that is. If you know, send us a comment. I would love to know. It's very beautiful. I wouldn't mind visiting. Alright, so let's have a look at the first word here. Okay, so here you can see inside someone's apartment. So here this is kind of, looks like the top one looks kind of old-fashioned. Here you can see a very new modern apartment. So nowadays in cities a lot of us would live in an apartment, and depending where the apartment is and how big the apartment is depends how much you pay for it. For example, if it's just like a 1-room or a 2-room apartment, it's cheaper. 3 rooms and 4 rooms get a lot more expensive. So nowadays an apartment is, you'll have big blocks of flats basically with maybe 50 or 60 apartments in them. So as you can see here, per the room and my example, I don't live in a house, but I have an apartment in town. Okay? And apartments in this area are extremely expensive, so I can't afford to buy one. Ain't that the truth? Aha! So here you can see in cities these now are very common because people tend to build up rather than building out because of the high price of land. Okay, so lots of them, high-rise buildings, and a high-rise buildings literally just means that buildings that are very tall, they have lots of floors and lots of apartments or offices. Okay, so that's the difference between an apartment and an office. An apartment is a place where someone lives, office where you work. So very high buildings. Many people in cities live in high-rise buildings nowadays. And skyscrapers and blocks of flats, like in the pictures here, are high-rise buildings. And we'll get to skyscrapers in a minute. Alright, so there we go. You can see here, very similar, these are high-rise buildings like we were talking about before, so you can call them high-rise buildings, or you could call them a block of flats. Okay, so if they're a block of flats, these buildings have no offices, no one works there, but they're for living, so they're full of apartments. We have decided to move to another block of flats because our neighbors are driving us crazy. The new apartment block, the building looks very luxurious. Okay, so some of these apartments, especially if they're in an expensive part of town, they have everything inside. Jacuzzis, saunas, they're beautiful places. And here you have it. So if you're lucky enough to live in a major city, you might have huge big things like this. And we call these bad boys skyscrapers. Okay, they're so high they kind of scrape the sky. I love it. It's very, very descriptive. Alright, so these are very, very high buildings, and especially if you see some of the things that they're building in Dubai or the Empire State Building, these are huge, huge structures. Okay, they are skyscrapers with 50, 60 floors. Crazy things. New York has a lot of skyscrapers. And how many floors does this skyscraper have? Now this is kind of the opposite. So you can see here, this is up in the mountains beside a lake, very quiet place, or a quaint little thing. Look how small this is. The guy standing there, it's tiny. So these are examples of cottages. Okay, and a cottage is pretty much a small house that you would maybe have in a village or in the mountains or near a forest. So you would go there to have a quiet, relaxing time. You don't have cottages in cities. So we stayed in a beautiful cottage in the mountains. It was so relaxing. And I love cottages in this village. They are so quaint, which means pretty. Okay, so guys, here's your quiz. You can see the pictures here. Try and match the words to the pictures. Thank you very, very much for watching. This is Real English. Bye for now.